Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, not because of a sound, not because of pain, but because of a strange, quiet feeling? Like you're slowly drifting away from this world, silently and unseen? No one says it out loud, but you know it, and so do I. There are mornings when your body just doesn't respond the way it used to. Days when even walking out to the porch feels exhausting. Meals when you don't even want to reach for another bite. People say it's just old age, but deep down you feel it. Something inside is quietly dimming. I'm not here to scare you, and I'm certainly not here to make you feel more burdened. I'm here, as someone who has also passed the age of 70, to gently whisper a truth to you. Our body never leaves us overnight. It always gives us signs. We just often choose not to look. And if you have the courage, I invite you to sit with me now. Together, we'll listen to the signals our body has been trying to send for a long time. Subtle signs, often overlooked, but in truth, they may be the body's final messages, preparing us for a soft and graceful goodbye. Not to bring fear, but to bring preparation. Not for despair, but so that we may live these last days fully, meaningfully, and without missing a single moment of love. Are you still here with me? Then come, let us begin. With the very first sign that so many of us experience in silence, yet rarely ever name for what it truly is: gradual weight loss. The body's quiet first whisper that the final chapter may be near. Have you ever noticed that pair of pants you used to fit into snugly now feels loose around your waist? That favorite coat from last winter now hangs empty at the shoulders? Maybe you thought, I've just been eating less lately, it's nothing. But the truth is, it's not just about food. It's the body's first whisper saying, I'm starting to fade. Have you noticed? I used to be like you. I didn't pay much attention to my weight after turning 70. But then one day, an old friend looked at me with a gentle pause and asked, have you lost weight? You look smaller. Her words stopped me in my tracks. Not because I was scared, but because I knew she was right. The aging body doesn't just lose weight from eating less. It stops absorbing nutrients like it used to. It starts shedding muscle. It loses interest, not just in flavor, but in life itself. It's like a fading oil lamp, quietly running out of fuel. You know what the saddest part is? So many of our loved ones, our partners, our friends, have slowly entered this stage. They begin to eat less, chew more slowly, tire out even while sitting at the table. And we, because we love them, urge them to eat. We make soup, warm milk, coax them with every spoonful. But eventually we realize, no matter how much we try, the weight still slips away. Because the body has already begun to let go. Dear friend, if you see this happening to yourself or someone you deeply care about, please don't panic. Don't get frustrated. Don't try to fix what can't be fixed. Instead, sit beside them and gently ask, what would you like to eat today? And if they say, just half a bowl of soup, make it warm, make it fragrant, and fill it with love. Because now it's no longer about preserving weight. It's about preserving the last moments of comfort, dignity, and tenderness. And that is the most beautiful way to live when time begins to count backwards. Have you ever woken up in the morning, already exhausted? Not the kind of tiredness from staying up too late, but a deep, lingering weariness that settles in your bones, as if your body no longer has the strength to begin the day. I know that feeling. And if you're going through something similar, please hear me. Not because I'm a doctor, but because I've been there myself. This kind of fatigue, it's not like before. In the past, we'd work hard all day, feel worn out, but after a good night's sleep, we'd be ready to go again. But now, even after a full 8 hours of rest, even on quiet days, we still wake up feeling empty. Just getting out of bed is a struggle. A few steps around the house, and already the heart races, the legs tremble, and in that stillness you begin to wonder, am I aging faster than I thought? The answer might be yes, but it might also be something deeper, something quieter. Perhaps your body is gently shifting, preparing itself for the final stretch. I've witnessed this in many of my loved ones in their final months. At first, they pushed through, cooking meals, going to the market, tidying up the house. But then one day, they sat down and quietly said, I don't want to push myself anymore. Not out of defeat, but because the body had stopped sending energy to parts that no longer needed it, saving what little remained for the most essential thing: presence. I don't tell you this to make you feel sad or afraid. I tell you this so you can understand. This deep, unexplained exhaustion is not laziness. It's not giving up. It's a signal, subtle but full of meaning, that the body is asking for true rest. So if you or someone you love feels too tired to get up, too drained to move through the day, please don't urge them to go take a walk or get some fresh air. Instead, sit beside them, hold their hand, and gently ask, what does your body need today? Sometimes the most precious gift is not action, but presence. A warm cup of tea, a moment of silence, or simply being there with love. Are you still here with me? If you've ever felt that kind of unnameable exhaustion, I invite you to leave a comment. I've felt my body quietly asking for help. Because your words may light the way for someone else walking this path, reminding them they are not alone. And now, I invite you to continue with me into part 3, where the body remains but the mind begins to drift away. We'll talk about forgetfulness, confusion, and the quiet heartbreak of watching someone you love slowly begin to fade. Stay with me. This matters. Have you ever been talking with a loved one, only to realize they no longer remember what you just said? Their eyes may still be looking at you, but somehow it feels like they're gazing far off into a place you cannot reach. Sometimes they smile, then ask a question you answered only minutes ago, and suddenly you understand. Their mind is no longer fully here in this moment. I witnessed this with my longtime companion, a woman once sharp, witty, with an incredible memory. But one afternoon, as I told a familiar family story, she looked at me quietly and asked, "Did we ever go there?" My heart paused, not from sorrow, but from recognition. This wasn't ordinary forgetfulness. It was a sign that the mind was gently and silently stepping away. In the final stages of life, many of us begin to experience confusion, not just forgetting where we left our glasses, but losing track of dates, of familiar faces, of cherished memories. Sometimes our loved ones grow quiet, withdrawn, avoiding eye contact, slowly retreating into a world we can no longer enter. If you've ever been in this moment, I know what you're feeling: the worry, the ache. You want to call them back, to pull them into the present, to hold them tightly and not let go. But the more you try, the more you realize the mind cannot be forced to stay when it has chosen to leave on its own gentle timeline. And the most painful part is not that they forget your name, it's that you are still here, loving them deeply, while they, without saying it, may no longer be able to feel it as they once did. But let me say this, with all my heart, they do still feel your love, even if they can't say your name, even if their gaze seems distant, even if their words falter. A gentle touch, a warm voice, a quiet moment shared, these can still reach the deepest parts of their soul. Love travels through the fading edges of memory. So if someone you love is losing their grasp on clarity, please don't be angry, don't despair. Become their safe space. Be the calm in their confusion. Be the quiet presence that doesn't ask them to be who they were, but accepts them as they are with tenderness and patience. Because at that point, the most precious gift you can offer is unconditional presence. Are you still with me? If you've ever felt that heartbreaking moment, when someone you love begins to drift and you cannot hold them still, please leave a comment. I'm still here, even as the memory fades. That simple message could be a gentle reminder to someone else walking the same path, that they are not alone. And now, let's move into part 4, where we'll talk about another quiet yet crucial sign often overlooked. When wounds take longer to heal, when small illnesses linger for weeks, what is the body trying to tell us then? Keep walking with me, because understanding is love, especially in the final chapters of life. Do you remember a time when a small cut would heal in just a few days? When a mild cold was nothing more than a brief inconvenience? Back then, rest, and a little care were all it took. But now, it's different. Even the tiniest scrape takes weeks to heal. A lingering cough stretches on for a month. Your body responds slower, fatigue stays longer, and somehow, recovery doesn't come like it used to. I used to dismiss it, thinking a couple of pills, some sleep, and I'd bounce back. But then came the story of my friend James, 84 years old. He caught a mild spring cold. No high fever, no serious cough. But 3 weeks passed, and he still didn't feel better. Slowly, quietly, his body began to weaken. Not because of the cold itself, but because it no longer had the strength to fight back. You see, the immune system, so powerful in our youth, grows quieter with age. Not broken, just slower. Less alert, less resilient. What once were minor illnesses can now become turning points in an older person's health. And the frightening part? It's often subtle. Older adults don't always spike a fever or cry out in pain. Instead, they simply tire more easily, eat less, or perhaps become slightly confused. You notice a wound that isn't healing, a mild infection that won't go away. One day, even a small sore keeps them in bed. A minor case of pneumonia becomes a major threat. If you're caring for someone, or if this is happening to you, please don't brush it off. Pay attention to the small signs. Wounds that don't heal, constant fatigue, repeated infections. These aren't just signs of aging. They're messages from the body whispering, "I'm slowly letting go." Yes, I know, hearing this may bring a heaviness to your heart, but please, don't be afraid. When we understand what's happening, we can prepare, not to resist the inevitable, but to welcome it with gentleness and love. Instead of trying to fix everything, we can shift toward comfort, toward presence, toward dignity, because not every pain needs a pill. Sometimes what the elderly need most is a warm basin of water to soak their hands, a soft pillow behind their back, or simply a gentle question, "How's that wound feeling today, my dear?" If you've ever seen these signs in yourself or someone you love, I invite you to share in the comments with the words, "I'm listening to my body," because your voice, however small, might just shine a light for someone else walking a similar path. And now, we gently step into part 5, perhaps the most tender of them all. When breathing shifts, hands grow cold, and the skin begins to change color, what is the body really trying to say? Let's continue together, because knowledge in these moments becomes a balm, soothing our fear and helping us hold each precious moment with grace. Have you ever lain still, listening to your own breathing, and felt that it no longer flows the way it used to? Sometimes it's short and rushed. Other times, long pauses stretch between breaths, as if your body is quietly gathering strength to keep going. If you've experienced this or witnessed it in someone you love, please don't ignore it. As the body nears the end of its journey, the rhythm of breath changes, not because the person forgets to breathe, but because the systems that once ran tirelessly, the heart, the lungs, the circulatory system, are slowly stepping back, gently preparing for departure. I remember Margaret, my mother's dear friend. In her final days, she didn't speak much, but each breath she took was like a quiet, sorrowful melody, sometimes fast, sometimes shallow, sometimes almost like a sigh reaching the end of its tether. At night, her family would stay up, not to watch over her, but to listen, listening to each breath like one would listen to the ticking of a clock, counting down the final moment. You may notice a loved one breathing more slowly, more shallowly. There might be a pattern called Cheyne-Stokes breathing, a cycle of deep, fast breaths, followed by long, silent pauses. It can sound frightening, but it is a natural part of the body's transition toward rest. It's not just breath that changes. Blood circulation weakens and hands and feet begin to cool. Fingertips, toes, even the tips of the ears may turn bluish or pale. This isn't a sign of pain. It's simply blood returning to the most essential places, the heart, the brain. I know, watching these changes unfold in someone you love can make you feel powerless. You want to warm their hands, tell them to take deep breaths, do something, anything, but sometimes the most loving thing you can do is simply be there. Not fixing, not resisting, just being present, just offering love. You might softly play their favorite song, gently rub their back, adjust their pillow so they're more comfortable. Or you might simply hold their hand and whisper, "I'm here." Breathe however your body needs to. And if you're still here with me reading these words, I know you have a gentle heart and a brave soul. Please leave a comment saying, "I am listening to the breath of life." Let that be a soft message to someone else walking this delicate road, that they are not alone. Because even the faintest breath is still a bridge between the body and love. And when the final breath fades, it is love that remains. And now, I invite you to walk with me into our final part, where we look back on all the signs we've explored, not to fear them, but to understand. When we know, we can prepare. When we understand, we can love more completely. Let's keep going, because the end doesn't have to be sad. It can be a peaceful farewell. If you've made it this far, I want to offer you a heartfelt thank you, because it means you care deeply enough to want to understand, and you're brave enough to face what most people would rather avoid. What we've just walked through together hasn't been easy. It's not easy to hear, it's not easy to accept, and it's certainly not easy to stay calm in the presence of something as fragile as life's final breath. But here's the thing, when we know what's coming, we don't have to fear it. We can prepare. We can love more completely. We can say the words we never dared to speak. We can hold someone's hand, not to cling to them, but to help them let go in peace. The signs, like unexpected weight loss, deep fatigue, confusion, persistent infections, and shifts in breath or circulation, aren't verdicts. They are gentle whispers from the body. I'm beginning to let go. Please be with me gently. I've seen people who, once they understood this, completely changed how they showed up for their loved ones. They stopped pushing food. They didn't insist on getting out of bed. They didn't force cheerfulness. Instead, they sat quietly beside them, told old stories, stroked their hair, held the hands that were beginning to grow cold, and let love do the rest. Because in the end, it's not medicine or control that makes us feel alive, it's connection. It's being seen, accepted, and loved without condition. And I hope that one day, if you ever notice these signs within your own body, you won't be afraid. I hope you'll smile softly and think, I know, I'm ready, and I'm not alone. So now, let's pause together. Ask yourself, of all 5 signs we explored, which one moved you the most? Which one reminded you of someone you love or even of yourself? Share that with us in the comments below. Your words may be the light that guides someone else through the shadows of this same path. And if you found this video meaningful, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Wise Old People, so this kind of gentle understanding can reach those who need it most. Because life, whether brief or long, deserves to be understood with tenderness, and when the ending is prepared with love, it doesn't have to feel like a goodbye. It can be a peaceful farewell, a circle closing with grace. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again soon on the next healing journey we take right here on Wise Old People, where seasoned hearts come home to warmth.